Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. This past week, I lit the fire in the shed for the first time this season. It was nice to have sort of a cool sun outside and have that coming in through the glass and then have the fire going here. It was nice to then sit here most of the day. I had yarn drying, which I'll talk about shortly, and it was nice to sort of have it already set up and ready to go. I have already had wood in here, so it was beautiful and dry. So now I just need to collect some more kindling to make sure that I keep a dry collection in here. So on the days when I come over and it's really cold, I'm not going out and getting wet, cold kindling to begin with. I'll have a little stash here. So it is crackling away here in front of me now, and it's lovely and warm. And my plan is to spend the day today over here in the shed while I get ready for the Warrigal All About Fibre and Yarn Festival Market. The market is Sunday the 28th of April. So as this video goes live, I will be there setting up. And I will talk about that shortly in business life. This week, we changed over the sheep's hay. They had sort of eaten down to a core in the middle, and there were bits around the outside. There was still plenty of hay. We probably could have gone a little bit longer, but I need Adam to use the tractor to do that. So he was available to do it on the weekend. And we thought what we would do is we would drive the tractor in to the sheep paddock while it wasn't too wet and lift up what was left and move that into their shelter and then put a new bale in. And he does that by just throwing it, not really throwing, but on the forks, lifting it up and popping it in over the top of the fence. So I moved the sheep into the shed grass area. We tidied up that hay and we put it all into their shelter, which they're now enjoying eating in there and sleeping on. They haven't really dug into the next new bale yet, I think because they still have all that sort of now broken up fresh hay in their shelter. We also checked on the trees that are in the sheep paddock, and now they're doing so well. You can see where they were eaten to begin with, and now they've kind of sprouted out at different angles, but they're doing so much better now that we've got that proper fencing around. I added some of the sort of thick, muddy hay that had been around in on top of the weeds in there, so mulch that down a little bit more. Check the perimeter of that sheep fence, and then put them back in, and they are super happy with their new arrangements of warm, soft hay to eat and sleep on in their shelter. I'm also feeling a little bit tired this week. I've been looking after my mum's dog, and she is epileptic, so she's on a schedule of morning and evening medication. And when it gets close to that medication time, especially in the morning, she gets really whiny, and it's early. So I've been waking up earlier than I would like and getting her medication. And then once I'm awake, I find it really difficult to get back to sleep. She goes back to sleep, but I'm not able to. So she goes back in a couple of days. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a little bit of a sleep in once she's gone. But yeah, it's been a little bit of the extra routine, something a bit different that I've been doing these past week as well. So as I said, as this video goes live, I'm at the Warrigal All About Fibre and Yarn Festival Market. So I'm hoping that will be a really great day, and I can share stories from that with you next week. So today, in preparation for that, I am over here in the shed getting the last bits and pieces done. I dyed up a batch of yarn this past week, which I used the fire for to dry because it's now not been quite as well, it's not summer anymore, so it's not hot. So I hung it to dry by the fire. While I was home, I had the doors open so that there was some breeze coming through. And then I had it sitting so that if there was any sun, that would come in and dry it as well. So the plan for today is to reskein, label, and pack the yarn that I have just dyed up. Check my square and make sure that that's all set to go. and maybe practice my stall setup just one time just to see if it's how I want to do it. I have a double stall again for this market, and I want to figure out how to display things, and I'm going to change it up a little bit from what I did a couple of weeks ago, because I've got more DK stock this week than I did previously. Now let me show you what I have dyed this past week. So I did some Your Turning Violet Violet, nasturtium, forest, berries, pure imagination, because all of my pure imagination sold out at my last market. And I just played around and did one single skein of a stock yarn. All the rest was DK. I did one single skein of a stock yarn, so just a one of a kind to add to the table. So that will be available at the market. I haven't done all that much knitting this week. I've been feeling tired in the evenings, and I've been reasonably busy with market prep and with office work. But I did work on some socks while I was at work. It's been a little while since I've sat and knit in front of non-knitters in that kind of office environment. So it was kind of it was fun to talk to them about it and for them to be so fascinated with what I was doing. So I cast off the first stripy sock. This is half-baked hand-dyed striped socks, and excuse me, and ocean in my yarn. And I have started the second one. So I was working on this one over lunchtime, just getting a few rows in. And as I said, it's been a while since I've knit in front of non-knitters like that. And they all wanted to have a chat about it, ask what I was working on. And then as we were talking, like I'm, just having a conversation, and they were fascinated that I was doing it with like hardly looking. And it's nice to share my love of knitting with non-knitters and have a chat about crafting. So that's what I worked on at lunchtimes. Then in the evenings, I've been getting into bed and I've been knitting a few rows on two different things. Firstly, my mosaica shawl, which I've been showing you the past few weeks, in the Yarn Trader Tea in the Garden color, which is the white. The grey purple is from Bombed Yarns. It's a one of a kind colorway, and the blue purple is Potion by Owl of Athena. So I have worked through the waffle that I showed you last week. I just started that. And then there's these ladders. That's better. And then I'm about to start another waffle section here. Now, I had done a few more rows and I was getting tired, and somehow I have missed a stitch somewhere. So I had to unknit a number of rows. So I've left this sit for a few days. The ladder pattern is all correct, so my stitch count was right there. So I'm just going to fudge it near the start of this and keep going. But it needed to take a little break. Still really loving it, and looking forward to getting on to the next section. Well, something I did want to mention about this pattern, which I really, really appreciated, is that in the pattern, it actually has photos of each of the sections of the texture and the patterning, so that you can, I guess, check that you're doing it right, but just to make, sort of get an impression of what it should look like as you go. And initially, I thought that I'd made a mistake with this one. I thought it was supposed to be the same as this, and it kind of felt the same to knit, except that you were doing the increases and decreases slightly differently, so that the three lined up instead of being offset like they are down here. And I started to panic a little bit, and then I checked the pattern and saw that I was actually correct, and it was ladders, not steps like this one. The thing that's seen the most work this week is the Clementine Cowl by Barley from Tea Time Yarn Retreats. So I am in to the second half of the cowl. The first half is a ripple that I did in my DK yarn in Morning Glow and While the Sun Shines. And now the second half is a textured pattern that is just in the While the Sun Shines. So I need to make this part as long as the first section. I think it's about 75 centimeters. So I am, let's see, I have that much to go. Was that about 20 centimeters maybe? So, and this is a 4-stitch repeat, so it's been nice and simple to do, and short rows, so it's easier to finish a row and just roll over and go to sleep, as opposed to the long rows of the other shawl. So, little ways to go still, but I think it will be done reasonably soon, especially if I continue to work on this one at night. Then what I will do is block it flat, and then I think I'll just put a different cord on here, take the tips off, and just wet it, block it flat, and then pick up the stitches along here and graft it together. I think I'd rather do that because I want to make sure that this edge, which is rolling a bit on the textured section, lays nice and flat, and I want to loosen up this texture a little bit. And it will, especially seeing it's wet and cold now, it's going to dry much quicker if I'm able to lay it out flat rather than have it as the cowl, because then it will stay wet on itself. So yeah, I'm going to block it flat and then graft it together. So I don't think it will be done next week. I've got a reasonably busy week ahead, but you never know. I'm certainly making progress. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.